Okay, we're live. And today's chat, of course, is a chat with my patrons. This is November's chat with patrons. And we have several folks already with us. Silent Robot, Matthias, Dan, how you doing? And we got Folkrit, Rob B. The chat with my patrons.
It's me, Derek.
November's chat with patrons. Oops, let me mute the desktop audio here. That was my fault.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, Rob.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me. I muted quickly.
Yeah, it was also me. Yeah, it's more than one of us.
Yeah, I'm looking at, I downloaded the Zoom app, and it doesn't give you any kind of indication of what your audio is doing. I've got Fabio Control popped up here, and it's showing as I'm talking, but I can't tell if it's getting through Zoom or not.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't give you too much information in Zoom itself.
No, but it's nice. It's better than doing it in a browser, I think.
Yeah, it's a good client.
Yeah, you can actually connect to Zoom in a browser, but yeah, you're right. The standalone client is better than using it in a browser.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely like it better than Hangouts.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I just got to break down and buy a camera.
Yeah. Oh, so what camera are you using, or do you not have a camera at all?
I don't even have one. I had one a while back, but in a move, it kind of grew legs and walked away.
Yeah, that happens.
I can recommend Microsoft Live Cam. It's really good.
What kind of cam?
Microsoft Live Cam.
Mm-hmm.
They have one for Skype. I have it, and it's great. It's good audio too.
Yeah, you're looking for good, webcams that won't break the bank. Logitech makes pretty good webcams.
Yeah, that's what I had before. It was a Logitech, and it worked good on Hangouts and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've got here is a Logitech. It seems okay.
Which model is that, Dan?
I think this is an older one. It's the
720.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, it's the one I had. I'll have to get another one. I can't find the one. It got put in a box somewhere and probably thrown in the garbage.
Yeah, I think for the same price that I paid for this one, you can probably get the 922, which is the newer one. So
that's what I've got. I'm not using it, but some of my earlier videos, you guys saw me using the Logitech 922, and it's great for a webcam.
Yeah,
about as good as you can get for a webcam. About $100, what I paid. Obviously, if you want something a bit better than a webcam, you have to buy a real camera, and then you're looking at, even some of the cheaper options, with a camera and a tripod and everything, you probably $300-400. I mean, on the cheaper end, and of course you can go many thousands of dollars past that. Guys like Linus Tech Tips, who buy a camera that costs $50,000 or whatever the heck he paid for
crazy.
That ridiculous. What is that? The red.
Nobody can see it anyway. So
whatever brand camera that is. Oh, and he didn't need one. Wasn't he the guy that he bought two of them, because you got to have two different angles sometimes, so you got to buy two of these $50,000 cameras. That's a little much. My Panasonic G7 cost like $600. The lens cost. I bought a separate lens too. $150, about $750.
Yeah, spending all that patron money.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for the camera. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And Matthias got his coffee too. Yeah, thanks for the super chat.
Coffee.
Yeah, Jan in the super chat here. Appreciate that, buddy. All right. Yeah, you guys definitely do help fund the equipment. I
actually the content, so that's what it's for.
Yeah, I've spent, I don't know, well over $3,000, I think. On cameras, mics, and drives and everything else. So it's money that, you know, I don't mind spending. This has been fun, actually, learning about all of this. You know, it's a learning experience for me. Hopefully it's the learning experience for the viewers as we go.
Yeah, it is. So
that's part of the reason why I'm trying Fedora and I'm about to play with the Jack server, you know, is because I don't know anything about it. We'll see how it goes. As I learn about it, I keep you guys informed.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it can't be worse than Pulse. I'm certain it's going to be better than Pulse Audio. So. Yeah, Linus Tech Tips is a company now, so it makes sense. Yeah, he makes a lot of money. He's got what, 6-7 million subscribers, and you know, when you get you know millions of views on a video, yeah.
That's much cash flow that needs to go through that.
Right.
Keep it afloat.
Yeah. Well, you know, once you have that many views on videos, you know, it's really making money with Google or YouTube through AdSense. It's all about how many people view your content. It's not about subscribers. I mean, you can have a bunch of subscribers, but if you're putting out a bunch of content and nobody's really watching it, you're not making any money. It's all about the ads being viewed every time somebody views one of your videos. So these guys that are getting like millions of views every video they make, they are making thousands of dollars every time they put out something. Or somebody like me, you know, I get a couple of thousand views on a video. That's nice. I made, you know, a couple of bucks. You know, but you know, when you times that by 1,000, you know, with some of these guys, and of course Linus Tech Tips. I mean, he's a big channel, but think about people like PewDiePie. You know, just the insane amount of money that guy's probably worth, and just putting out just garbage content.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't, even if I made all that money, I couldn't respect myself, you know, after doing it. I shouldn't talk about him, though. You know, you got to respect,
I guess.
Yeah, you gotta respect another man's hustle.
You have your viewers, so we're here for different kind of reasons.
Yeah. Oh, Ben, yeah, send me a email, Ben, if you still got my email, and I'll send you a link to the chat. Also in the chat, Jan, who had sent me that super chat, he's, how much time do you spend for all the video production each week? Well, it varies, but typically when I record a video, like the pre-recorded stuff, like if I'm going to do a distro review or some kind of tutorial or something, those are usually about a half hour in length after I clip the video, cut some of the extra stuff out. And then rendering it usually takes a little over an hour. All told, a half-hour video I spend 2 to 3 hours making these days. I've streamlined the process a little bit. I don't spend too much time on like the post-production stuff. I don't try to make anything look too professional. You know, I don't worry too much about the details. It's usually if I've got something worth saying, as long as I get it on camera and get it published, that's all that matters. Let's see. Yeah, Big Pod says, hey, DT and the gang. Good morning, Big Pod.
Might be worth having a look at DaVinci then.
Yeah.
That could halve your production time, I reckon. Renders up very fast.
Yeah, DaVinci. Yeah.
Easy
Problem is, it's still not, I mean, officially supported on Linux. I know you can install it and it works. I've been sticking with Kden Live. Let's see. I'm going to check my email and see if Ben has emailed me. He has not. Let's see if I've got Ben's email. I think I do.
Yeah, a question to you. Does any of you use the AMD's graphic card? I'm thinking about getting the new 590. I have always used NVIDIA, so. But
yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I put one in my computer. I always ran NVIDIA for years and years and fought with them for years and years. And I finally just got tired of it about 6 or 7 months ago and bought a AMD 550, I think it is. And it's been a dream. I haven't had any problems. I haven't had to set anything, touch anything. I just installed it, loaded the default kernel driver. I think it's AMD GPU, and it's been perfect ever since. I haven't had to do anything.
Nice. I can't say I have any trouble with media, but yeah, just curious about what AMD is doing.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about what to get for my next machine. Probably go.
And I like that they
AMD.
support the open source and have native drivers.
Exactly.
I have been on the fence too. I've always been an NVIDIA user because, I mean, for the price, NVIDIA is just better, especially on Linux. It always has been. AMD's getting better, but still, I mean, I can buy like this Vega 64 card. I can actually buy an NVIDIA 1080 cheaper than that Vega 64 card, which doesn't produce. It's not as powerful as like the NVIDIA 1070. It's like, why am I spending this extra money for an inferior card? Well, because I don't have to fight with drivers because the drivers are open source. That's not a big enough reason just yet. I mean, I can still get the NVIDIA drivers installed just fine, but if the price difference was not as great, maybe.
I think when you drop down into the next tier below that, into the 580s, 590s, or whatever, the price is a little closer together.
590s are in really good price at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think that's the sweet spot for AMD.
Yeah.
And as you say, they don't have anything competitive in the high end.
Right.
There's NVIDIA still king. So
yeah, so I'll probably eventually get an AMD card because they keep getting better. But right now, I'm just gonna stick with NVIDIA.
I guess that the next generation of more powerful cards will be better.
Yeah.
The current lineup is quite old.
But every time I have to fight with things like NVENC, I always think, well, if I had an AMD card, I wouldn't have to do all of this. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what I do the next machine. I would definitely
think a lot of it is the if you game. If you're seriously gaming, you probably still need to stick with the NVIDIA because the performance is better. But I don't game, and for video, what I do, it's worked fine. The AMD is just fine, and using the kernel driver, it just I haven't had to do anything.
Gaming on Linux with the Vulkan drivers, I think the AMD has the upper hand on this platform. So that should be good. I have to try. I play some demanding games like ETS, so it's I'm gonna tax that real hard.
Yeah, and my next machine, I'll definitely get a AMD CPU. I'll do the Ryzen, or might step it up to a Threadripper, right? Get something. Well, maybe I get an AMD GPU as well.
Yeah,
I'll probably actually buy a new machine. I don't know, within the next 6 months. I need to retire this one. I've had it for 4 years or so. I'm not exactly sure. 4, maybe 5 years. Not the best machine. It does what I need it to do, but I'm ready to upgrade a little bit. Bring some of those render times down we were talking about as far as video editing. Obviously, the better the CPU.
If we're talking performance and for the money, AMD, you can't beat AMD at the moment.
The Threadrippers are a little expensive, but
because Intel's counterpart is more expensive.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, if it would save me time, time is money too. So
yeah,
I can actually use all those threads for what I do. Not I'm not gonna get like the 32 core 64 thread monster Threadripper that's like $2,000, but the 12 core maybe that's probably doable. So, Although, yeah, I would love to get that thing just for taking screenshots of HTOP running with 64 threads.
Yeah.
And I would just sit there. I'd have HTOP open all day and just look at those threads.
Dedicate one whole screen for that.
Yeah, you'd have to. I'd have to buy an extra monitor just for HTOP.
Hey there.
Hey, Ben.
Hey. Yeah. Unfortunately, this webcam on this tower does not work. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten around to putting Linux on here yet. It's in Windows 10 right now, unfortunately, but I will get around to it. It's just I've got to put it on another SSD that I just haven't gotten around to yet. But right now, on my other laptop, it's running 10, and then it's running Gen 2 and LFS all at the same time on one drive.
Yeah. I knew when you showed up without a picture, Ben, you went back to Windows. So.
Yeah.
Is it that obvious?
It was pretty obvious. Because you had working video the last time we saw you.
Yeah, unfortunately, my webcam, no matter what OS I'm on, is pretty temperamental.
Yeah.
It's a HP camera, so unfortunately, it's not the best thing in the world.
So what happened to Linux from scratch, Ben? I thought you were determined to live in Linux from scratch.
I had to start over because unfortunately what happened was I installed some Debian packages on it, and all of a sudden putting apt on there just sort of broke it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then what happened was I installed 2 versions of GCC, which totally screwed it up. So, and then I tried to recover it, and that just made it a hell of a lot worse. So yeah, putting a package manager on there can kind of brick things to the nth degree. So I didn't.
Which is quite ironic because you use the CLI to do most of the install, then you install a package manager and brick
right,
it.
right.
And I didn't realize that putting a package manager on something as complicated as Linux from scratch would have been the wrong way to go.
Yeah, I mean, how can you tell it what repos to use?
Right, exactly.
It's designed for that.
That's what I did. Was I put Debian's repos on it, and that just totally nuked it. So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah, that's where it went.
That's what I like about you, Ben. You do it with style.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that was a bad idea. And my friend, one of my friends, Spiky from the Linux from Scratch support channel, even tried to help me out and do depackage with LFS, and he couldn't even get it to work. So that was kind of a lost cause. So that's where we left that.
Yeah.
LFS. He couldn't even get it to do what?
No, I think somebody unmuted the stream for a second. It was some weird feedback there, but it's fine now.
Yeah, but yeah, unfortunately, LFS with a package manager ain't gonna happen. So yeah, but this time I did it with multi-lib, so I can at least get Steam and my other daily apps working. So that's a good thing. And I left off doing Xorg server on it, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. So Linux from scratch with apt and DPKG. Don't
Was
do
a
it.
no-go.
So
Yeah.
just I'm gonna scratch that one off the list. You know,
Right. That is the
Does
biggest
not
problem with LFS, or you don't have any package management, so
Right.
you do it all by hand.
Yeah, you got to do it all by yourself. There's no dependency management, nothing like that. All it does is you download a source file, then you just compile,
And then you keep a second list of things not to install.
I mean,
exactly.
I admire you, Ben, for trying to live in Linux from scratch, even though that's not what it's designed for.
Yeah.
But we've seen people like Das Gregor try it on his YouTube channel, and he couldn't even get Linux from scratch to work for him.
Right, that's because he didn't know about the multi-lib book, and that's what I used, and it was up to date.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just not the most ideal thing to do, but it was. But I think I can do it because, like I said, I've built it for both architectures, and
Yeah. Well, what you should do, if you are able to get a working Linux from scratch with a package manager that actually works, you should definitely, you know, spin your own distro. Absolutely, have your own distro based on Linux from scratch. Yeah.
Well, I'm not even sure what package manager I'm going to do it with. The one that might happen is either. I'm not going to say Pac-Man because that'll cause me to build a bunch of things that'll give errors. I've done it before. And Yum I've tried to do, but that has a bunch of Python errors. So the only one that I can think of that might not cause problems is either DNF or Portage. One of those two. And I'm thinking DNF because that would be easier than Portage by a long shot. Because Portage is what Gentoo runs.
Right.
Yep.
And I don't want to do that. So I am leaning towards DNF at the end of the day because that's what Fedora and all the RPM distros run. So I think it would be unique and something that my distro would fare within something like that.
Right.
So yeah, I think I called it Infinity OS. So what I think I'm going to put on it is DNF at this point.
Well, good luck with that. What you might check out, Ben, is there are some people that actually base distros off of Linux from scratch. There's not too many of them out there, but there are a couple. Maybe do a quick search in DistroWatch and see what kind of package manager they went with.
Yeah, I think they actually made their own, which I have no idea how the heck to do. But
well, that would probably be the best thing if you had those skills, is to build your own. But I couldn't do it, so
I'm not planning to do that.
Yeah, so
yeah, I'm gonna search LFS. I'm looking at DistroWatch right now, and
yeah,
I'm looking at
yeah, Michael Tux Digital in the chat mentions Nutix is an option.
Yeah, Nutix is good.
Nutix. Yeah. They use the cards package manager. I've heard of it, and
Yes.
I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to clone that into mine.
I don't know. Maybe it's out there on GitHub or something. Maybe you can go grab it.
Yeah. Nutix.
Or contact the devs. Ask them about it. Hey, can I use your package manager? I'm struggling.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Oh, they actually have an ISO generator that you can clone.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Let me see. I'm looking at their GitHub right now.
No.
Oh man, this doesn't look that hard.
So, other than Ben hopping to Windows this week, any of you guys hopped anything? Or we still all just running what we run?
Yeah, I mean, I'm running Ubuntu on my main machine, but I did on my hopping machine, I put Manjaro deep in for the Big Daddy challenge.
I thought about doing one of the deep in distros. I'm not sure what I want to do. I've tried, the main Chinese deep-in actually on physical hardware recently, so I don't want to do that again.
Just install Arch and then install Deepin desktop.
I thought about going that route. Just Arch with Deepin makes a lot of sense.
So quick in that environment.
I may end up switching actually, because I noticed that Manjaro is still 15.7, and I think the latest is 15.8.
15.8.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
I may go that way.
Yeah, I actually installed Manjaro 18 on one of my computers, and or actually it was a VM on this machine actually, and I made a new XFCE build on top of it. So yeah, that's what.
Of course, I mentioned earlier. I've been playing with Fedora this week on my main production machine. Did a live stream from Fedora. I'm gonna do some more stuff with Fedora. The distro I haven't spent that much time with ever. you know, as long as I've been using Linux. Never been a Fedora user. I mean, I check it out, you know, every time there's a major release, you always look at Fedora, but it's never been a distro I wanted to run, mainly because I'm not a big fan of GNOME. And typically they're a little too bleeding edge for somebody like me. You know, and they're really quick to switch to things like Wayland, for example, by default. You know, so I've always kind of left it alone, but I must admit I've enjoyed playing with Fedora the past week. So I may try to live in it for a month or two.
That's cool.
Yeah,
You
just for
gonna leave
educational
plasma
purposes.
on it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing Plasma. I don't like GNOME. I don't like the workflow.
Right.
So
Yeah, I don't like how GNOME works either, Derek. I mean, you just got to put in all these daggone extensions into it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
yeah. Full disclosure, I don't like Plasma either. I like the workflow, but Plasma has some bugginess to it. If you have an NVIDIA card, there's still weird things that go on sometimes with the graphics. You know, you get screen tearing and artifacts. You guys noticed during the live stream, I got some strange flickering going on in OBS trying to capture the Plasma desktop. I've had that happen before, trying to capture Plasma on real hardware. Also had that happen with Unity, in Ubuntu's Unity
Yeah,
desktop.
usually with Plasma, you got to enable the pipeline, the full composition pipeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I'd mentioned that during the stream, that it's probably something to do with the compositor. So I need to play with that.
Just go to compositor and turn it to never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To never.
Yeah.
So that does it. It cures it.
Yeah, just kill all the compositor. Just
Yeah.
go away.
Yeah.
You don't have to kill it. Just under display and monitor, go to compositor.
Yeah.
And
to get the flashing to go away, turn
current
off all the
prevention,
effects. That's what it's
just turn it
suggested
never.
in the chat here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need any of the effects that Plasma does. I don't need, you know, any of the blurring. I don't turn on things like wobbly windows and all that. So yeah, I could turn off all the effects. You know, you guys know I'm used to using things like OpenBox and Xmonad and stuff like that anyway. I don't need any kind of effects. So yeah,
Well,
I just
certainly
turn
when
all
you're-
that off. Yeah.
Yeah. Certainly when you're streaming, you don't need it.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
get in the way.
Yeah, it's
There you go. Well, actually, I found GitHub's. Well, it shows you on GitHub how to build GitHub from. GitHub. I mean DNF from source. So it doesn't look that hard at all. It's really looks that easy.
No. Famous last words. It doesn't look that hard. Put that on a t-shirt, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Ben's t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and in the chat,
I
Mark
actually,
Yates mentions
I
he
actually
loathes
should-
the blurring.
I should make a slogan T-shirt. It doesn't look that hard. Use the source.
Yeah.
Use the source, Luke.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark in the chat, he mentions KDE Plasma, the blurring effect. He loathes the blurring effect. That is the greatest thing that Plasma did, was adding the blur effect to the menus and everything.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like that's the one effect that I think makes sense. You know, all the other fanciness that they do doesn't do anything for me.
So,
but the blur,
I
I
got
don't
a
know.
phone case yesterday for my Android phone, and it
Mhm.
came with glass screen protectors. They're tempered glass. So yeah, I got some. So I thought I was only getting a cover for my phone, and I got some glass screen protectors yesterday too. So, and it only cost me about $10 off Amazon.
Matthias, can I ask you a question, sir? You're muted.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to know where you got that T-shirt. Michael in the chat wanted to know where you got that T-shirt. Hex Digital.
I just found it somewhere.
That is a nice T-shirt, though. I got to give him credit on that.
It's a nice t-shirt.
Yeah. I give him that one. I won't give him what he just wrote in the chat. Plasma is the best. No, Michael.
I would have to agree with Derek on that one. It's a nice desktop, but it's not the greatest.
It doesn't even make my top 10. So,
mine either.
It's better than GNOME. That's the reason I'm on it. It's better than GNOME.
It's better than GNOME, but I won't give it that high of a ranking.
What about for full desktop environments? I mean, is it your
full desktop
for
environments?
Well, for full GUIs, maybe, but
he likes XFCE.
For everyday use, I don't know.
Yeah, Ben is an XFCE fan. I can tell you that now.
Yeah, I don't hate using window managers, but for my everyday use, I can't see it happening.
Let's see. Full desktop environments, Budgie.
XFCE would be my
XFCE, LXQt, LXDE. I take all those before I take GNOME and Plasma.
Yeah, I would agree there, man.
Now, Cinnamon, you know what? I might take Plasma before Cinnamon.
Yeah. Cinnamon is cool, but it's like GNOME. It's too heavy. It can. I mean, I've ran it.
It's a little more customizable, that's for sure.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's not heavy anymore.
Well, the version I ran was when I ran it on when I ran it on Gen 2, it was 3.6, and then I tried 3.8. It just didn't run well with my system.
Yeah.
But it's a nice and lovely desktop. Don't get me wrong. It's just my laptop did not like it.
Right.
But
can you guys hear me okay? I'm not causing any problems?
No, Chris, you're good.
No, you got it.
Okay, good. I'm on my phone right at the moment. When I get back to the museum, I'll connect. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be on for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll be on here.
Yeah. I just wanted to quickly in the chat, Tensor Tom mentioned Cinnamon and Budgie are based off GNOME, though. Budgie is not really a fork of GNOME, although they use GTK in a lot of the GNOME apps.
It uses GTK3, but it's not a fork of GNOME in any way.
Right.
It's built from scratch.
Right. But it is kind of GNOME-like, yeah. But a lot of people mistakenly think it was a fork of GNOME. It wasn't. All right. Yeah. Budgie's not a fork, yeah. But other desktop environments that I like, you know what? I don't hate Pantheon. It's not very mature, but I don't hate it. I like the fact that I know exactly how to use it, unlike Plasma, where it's can be confusing when you sit down. Because I obviously distro hop a lot. I'm in a lot of different desktop environments. Plasma, even though I lived in Plasma for a full month earlier in the year, and I just installed this Fedora with Plasma, I still don't know where anything's at. And I used Plasma for a full 30 days earlier in the, Plasma is that confusing to find settings and.
I've lived in Plasma for years. What do you need to know, Derek?
Well, for example, double click and single click.
Mm-hmm. They moved
where
that,
do you
actually.
disable? Because I'm pretty sure they moved it from the last time I used it earlier in the year.
Did.
Yep. It's not where it's somewhere in the settings, but it's not in the same place it was the last time.
Yeah, I installed Plasma on Gen 2, and I've got it looking the way I want it. It's just my clicking is just. Sometimes I'll single click something, and sometimes I'll double click something or right click something. It just doesn't work that well.
No.
I mean, it's being really weird, and I don't know how to fix it.
Michael, Tux Digital. He says they moved it to desktop behavior because of reasons.
Yeah, it's in the workspace under desktop behavior.
Yeah, I'll tweak it when I get a chance.
Okay.
I'm just trying to finish this thing from scratch first. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the best desktop environment, I don't know why I'm just now thinking of it. The best desktop environment was Unity. I guess it still is Unity because it's still out
Unity was marvelous.
in a lot of ways, yeah.
I just hate that Canonical doesn't support it anymore, which really sucks.
Well, it's out there for anybody that wants to
run
to
it.
take it and do something with it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, if they want to run it, go ahead, but it's not really advertised. So
But yeah, I guess
not the best idea if you want to have a daily driver.
And Toss is in the chat. He says mate or mate. Oh, he loves mate. Well, we didn't bring up mate. He's a
mate is a great GUI.
Yeah. Toss is a big Ubuntu Mate fanboy. I'm gonna call him a fanboy. He likes those stable distros. You know, he's all about the stable.
Yeah, I guess go with what works. I guess.
Yeah. You know, I like to live on the edge. I always want to know every time I reboot that I may or may not have a working Xorg when I get back to my computer. So, Fedora will probably be a little more stable than things like Arch and Gentoo, those kinds of distros. But I don't know. People have told me that Fedora made them bleed, that it's so bleeding edge. Like physically, it made them bleed. Was that you, Ben, that says...
That was funny, yeah.
So what was your experience with Fedora, Ben?
I've installed it here and there over the times that I've used Linux, and every time, even the installer confused the crap out of me. I mean,
I hate the installer.
About the Anaconda installer just drove me nuts. I just...
Yeah,
I did not like that installer. Yeah,
it was the stupidest thing I have ever seen. I mean, how in the heck the Fedora developers came up with that piece of crap? I have no idea.
Well,
honestly, how you can get it installed, I have no dang idea.
Well, when they first came out with it, there wasn't a GUI installer. It was ncurses.
Ncurses.
So, yeah, I just...
Oh, but here's the thing, Dan. Here's the thing. You're going to switch from an ncurses installer, and things like Ubiquity and Calamares are out there. Why would you go with that horrible Anaconda installer?
Right, I know.
It's like there's other options that are so much better.
I'm not sure they were when they came up with it. That was like one of the first, I think.
Yeah, Calamari or Ubiquity totally kicks that thing's behind.
Yeah, right. I agree.
I'm sorry, but I just don't see a legitimate reason to even throw Fedora on your machine. Honestly, it's just frustrating, and I just
now Ben, they're gonna call you a hater. So
I'm sorry, but I honestly don't care because. I really do hate Fedora. I just do.
Hey, Ben, Michael, Tux Digital in the chat. He says you're complaining about Fedora's installer, yet you want to use Linux from scratch. You have some issues. So,
I just have had better luck with the more hardcore operating systems. I really just have.
Ben, you're joining this video chat from Windows. I just want to point that out.
I know, but I couldn't get Zoom working on my laptop because it had QT errors, and I just, it's a little odd, I know, but, I even tried adding Zoom through a third-party repo, and it did not work.
Just quickly, Robert Trimble joined us, but I have two versions of Robert in the Zoom. I'm not sure why. That's no big deal. I just wanted to point that out. That did you join, then leave, and then come back? Is that what happened? His audio may not be working.
Yeah, if you can hear me, I would join on my phone, but I was having issues with audio, so then I joined on my Fedora install, and then it's funny because I jump in, I'm having intermittent freezes, and I hear somebody trash at Fedora as soon as I log in. I'm like, oh, this is perfect time to jump in.
Bring your audio up a little bit if you can, Robert. But yeah, so I'm assuming you want to defend Fedora a little bit.
Well, no, I enjoy using Fedora. I've had a lot of fun with the simplicity of GNOME 3, and I know a lot of people do have their favorites, whether it's KDE or GNOME or another desktop environment. But I've actually had a lot of success with it, and I've run into a lot of issues adding PPAs in Ubuntu. So I was just wondering if there's anybody who has had stability with Fedora over the long haul. I'd love to hear about it, or people who have just gotten fed up with it like I have multiple times and picked something they enjoyed more.
Yeah.
I've never really lived in Fedora, so.
If you're looking for somebody that's done Fedora long term, that's not me. Play with it, weeks at a time, but I've never just lived in Fedora long term, and so I can't comment as far as stability.
Well, to answer that, Rob.
Okay, here we go.
Hold on there. Well, I've tried it back and forth throughout the years that I've been trying out Linux and that sort of thing. And honestly, like I said, it's been no walk in the park. I mean, it looks like a nice system. I could never get it working properly. I mean, even the blatant installer was just, like I said, a frustrating thing. So I've always just had frustrating times with it. And I did actually manage to get it installed once, and it just did not work out. So,
Ben, did you try the XFCE Fedora, or were you trying to use GNOME?
I tried GNOME, KDE, and Fedora and XFCE versions, and they all just spat the dummy with me, and I could not keep them on my computer.
Hey guys.
Okay.
Hey, Big Pod. How you doing?
Good.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Like I said, unfortunately, Fedora for me was just a bad experience.
Now, Big Pod has used Fedora a little bit. What's your take on Fedora as a distro? You like it? Dislike it?
I like Fedora really much. Only thing I hate is dealing with wireless and graphics drivers. It's the worst, and that's the only reason I don't have it installed on my main machine.
Oh. Yeah, in the chat, there's a discussion about South Korea having the fastest internet speeds. I did not know that.
Holy smokes.
So, these are the things you get in the chat. This is why the chat's great,
Yeah.
This is
That actually is surprising.
Right. No.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
They're probably right there on the, what's it called? The Asian Express fiber line, probably that.
They're close to the lines, yeah.
Yeah. That is pretty impressive. I mean, you wouldn't think Korea would have you wouldn't think Korea because, they're not the most rich country, but yet they have pretty killer internet. That is kind of weird.
They have good infrastructure.
Well,
one thing I wanted to bring up yesterday, I have no reason to do this because I've been using Thunderbird since the beginning of time, but I wanted to try some different email clients. So I installed Geary yesterday, and have been using that the last couple of days to, send and receive email. Matter of fact, that email I just sent Ben to join the chat here was from Geary, and I must say, it is, at least the interface, is very attractive, very intuitive. I don't know how feature-rich it is compared to Thunderbird. I imagine it lacks a lot of what Thunderbird has, but seems to be a nice little email client. Those of you that do desktop email, what do you use? Or does everybody here just use webmail?
I use Thunderbird.
Thunderbird, yeah.
I need that group by date feature. That's the way it'll work. Or group threads, rather.
Yep. Yeah,
I do most of mine in the web.
The web, yeah.
Yeah.
Web as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't really email people that much, but if I do it through either the Gmail or whatever web client that I'm on at the time, or I use Thunderbird, one of the two.
Yeah.
I mean, it really depends, but usually I do it through a web mail client. So.
Yeah. Well, like
it's
I said,
much more easier.
Yeah. I've been using Thunderbird forever. I've got no reason to switch, but I wanted to try out some different email clients in Linux. I briefly tried Claw's Mails once before, and no. Kmail, no. Geary's, like I said, it looks good as far as features. I mean, some people in the chat were talking about some features that were missing. Tux Digital. Geary doesn't have any form of sorting options. Yeah, that's a problem. Also, I noticed they don't have any kind of like contact management. So no contacts, but it remembers everybody, I guess, that's emailed you. Like when I was searching for Ben's email address, I typed B and it just filled out the rest of his email just because I had sent him an email before. Yeah. So even though it doesn't have contact management, I was able to find Ben, no problem. So.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can like sync your phone contacts to Geary. I'm assuming you can't.
I wish they would bring back Eudora Mail. That was a good client.
Yeah.
Which one?
Eudora. It was very good.
Well, and Tux Digital says he uses MailSpring and Claw's Mails. Use Claw's Mail because Claw's Mail was didn't seem like that was all that, to be honest.
Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah.
Although I never really touched it, I've heard some pretty bad things about it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was just looking through my Facebook, Derek. It looks like an Obi-Wan spinoff reportedly being filmed by George Lucas in Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're apparently doing an Obi-Wan Kenobi spinoff film of Star Wars.
Why not? We got the Han Solo one, so you might as well.
Yeah. Han Solo movie was not that great.
I'm still holding out for Chewbacca.
But there can only be one Han Solo movie. Otherwise, it's Han Duo.
Oh,
yeah.
That would be funny.
Chewbacca movie's going to be, what, an hour and a half of all?
Yeah. Will there be subtitles?
Yeah,
they'd have to be. That's why it would be hilarious. Can you imagine?
You can't understand a word the main character is saying.
I don't speak Wookiee.
Yeah.
The only other one that would be just as equally comical would be an R2-D2 movie with all the beeping. You can't understand what's going on.
Yeah, that would be funny too.
Or Jar Jar Binks the movie.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Oh no, please no.
Painful.
That would be hilarious.
I love all the Star Wars films, but you know what? I was always more of a Star Trek fan. I must admit, loved all the series, loved all the movies. The one thing about Star Trek, though, I'm a little weird, I guess, because I really thought Deep Space Nine was the best series, and it's kind of underrated in my opinion. A lot of people, they like the original series and they love, the Next Generation, but I really thought Deep Space Nine was the best series as far as the story, the whole arc of the story, and
yeah, it was very good. Well thought out.
Yeah,
well
the
written.
story was good for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Derek, I actually went the extra mile with Linux and actually installed Ubuntu 18.04 on my MacBook.
We have one robot had fallen asleep and the other one has awake.
There he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt, might as well give it a shot. And I actually did get the wireless working, and the only thing I haven't fixed is the dual GPUs, but other than that, everything's working, so yeah. Because the problem with it is it's not, I know with the Intel and AMD variants of the Mac, you can actually get both cards working, but with the Intel and NVIDIA variants of MacBooks, you can't do it.
Yeah. Ben, it is interesting that like every single machine you've ever used and every single distro you've ever put on those machines, you've broken in some way. So at some point we have to have an intervention, we just...
Intervention?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
Temple OS.
So you're wanting to have a talk with me about how many computers I have.
No, I think the intervention is to try to get you to,
You stop
Stable.
hurting yourself.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't even know how we're gonna do that.
Well, we don't either.
Yeah. Well, for one thing, you don't buy a MacBook and then put
Linux on it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it actually works pretty well. It's just the fact that getting both video cards to work is the one problem that I'm having.
Yeah, Babbler has a great little quote for you, Ben, in the chat.
What's that?
I have become death, destroyer of machines. Ben, 2008.
2018, he should say.
2018, yeah.
Yeah, that's destroyer of machines. Well, none of my machines have killed themselves yet, but yeah, I think I just need to stick to one machine and then just keep Linux on it, and then just have one machine for one single use.
Yeah. Have one machine that's just stable and just works, and you're not going to do anything with.
That's my tower, and then that's just going to stay Hackintosh and Windows, and then the other one's going to stay. My MacBook's just going to stay Mac, and then everything else is going to be my play machine. So
right.
And then the Dell's going to stay the way it is right now, hopefully, and then everything is just going to have one sole operating system. That'll be.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at DistroWatch to see if there's any
distro.
New, yeah, but wow, it's been slow the last couple of weeks. There's hardly been any releases of.
Yeah, been.
There's really nothing.
There hasn't been a need for it, but
yeah,
I've heard that 1904 has already started production.
Yeah, they're doing the development release. You can go ahead and if you got 1810 up and running, go ahead and move on to the development branch if you so choose, Ben. But I'm
not gonna do it on real machines.
I might do that on my laptop.
Oh God!
Just for joke. That's why I have backups.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with switching to a development branch. That way you can help them, report bugs and stuff like that.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to try it in a virtual environment, not on my main production OS. No way.
There you go.
Yeah, because, I'll do it in like VMware or VirtualBox, something like that, because, I don't want something to just up and break like it always does. Because then I'd be kicking myself in the foot over it.
No.
Yeah. And if it's going to break, I'm going to do it in VirtualBox or another VM software. That way I can take a snapshot of it in case something goes wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I like just cloning VMs once you set them up. Yeah, you can clone them a dozen times, and then you can hack on them. You can break on them, and you're not out anything when you break the VMs.
Yep.
Right. All right. Yeah, so no big releases. I guess the Deepin 15.8 release was the biggest thing in the last couple of weeks. I need to pick a Deepin distro, I guess, to download for next week. Something that uses Deepin as a desktop environment.
There's not really that many.
Antergos, I know, does one. Yeah, you're right. There are not that many of them that actually...
I think Manjaro has a spin of it now.
Yeah, that's
what
Manjaro
does. Manjaro does.
Antergos do one.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, they definitely do one. I think the last time I tried to install Deepin on Antergos, I couldn't actually get that thing to install.
Since she's behaving a lot better these days.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the problem with Antergos, is installing it is hit or miss as far as just that distro.
Right.
Let's see. I didn't think of this. Pardus as Deepin as the default desktop. And I actually took a look at that 2 weeks ago on the channel. I should have remembered that. Pardus 17.4. I didn't particularly care for that distro. Archman. I looked at that 6 months ago, and that had Deepin as the desktop environment. Archman. Just a random Arch distro with Deepin. Yeah. Well, there's a couple of more that are out there. Any of you guys want to check those out? I'll probably just do like mainline Arch, just install Arch and then just put Deepin on it.
Mainline Arch is much easier.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Zeb in the chat, he was mentioning this last night. Antic has his Deepin. Let me pull that up. Matter of fact, just quickly here. There's the website. It does look rather nice. You know what? I might try that, Zeb. You have piqued my curiosity on that one.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll download that this evening and see what I think. Yeah, Arco. Yeah, I didn't think about Arco. I'm sure they do a Deepin version.
You just have
too.
to remember with Deepin, the theming is on a per app basis. So the file manager has a pie menu. Drop that down and choose dark theme. I mean, the main theme applies globally, but some of the apps are individual.
Yeah, good tip, because that always throws me off every time I've ever looked at Deepin. Any Deepin is the theming. You'll choose dark theme, and then half your apps are still using the light theme.
Yeah, you just have
or
to
vice
toggle
versa. Yeah, it doesn't control everything. Yeah.
I'm actually thinking of distro hopping currently, either going for some Fedora or Manjaro. Can't decide what.
Yeah. Either one, I'm sure, would work out for you. If you've never tried Manjaro, Manjaro's nice. If you want to try Manjaro, try their XFCE edition. They do a really nice XFCE desktop. It's kind of their main edition.
It's like their flagship, yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm going to, I'll probably go for something like GNOME or OpenBox.
Yeah. Actually, they do have a community edition of Manjaro that somebody put together that uses OpenBox. It's not bad. I've looked at
that one.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I want to torture myself, I might go for KDE.
No. Oh. Well, they have an i3 edition too that's actually not bad, but it's i3.
Yeah, actually, their awesome is pretty good too.
The awesome window manager? I didn't know they did. It's a community spin.
Yep.
Must be rather new. I know the OpenBox one is kind of new because a year ago I was actually looking for a version of Manjaro with OpenBox and it didn't exist. Now it does. So.
Couple of months ago, I believe they made that version.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. But yeah, Manjaro as a distro is solid, stable. I mean, I haven't had any major breakages in Manjaro. Things break in Arch. As far as like a couple months ago when we had Python, the major update in Python, it broke all your Python apps. But what can you do? There's no way around that. So it was going to break all your apps eventually when you had to do that upgrade. So your only other option is not run a rolling release, do a static release distro, and then every 6 months or every 9 months, reinstall the whole operating system. But you got to pick and choose what you want to do there. If you like reinstalling every 9 months, Fedora is great. If you want to run a rolling release and never have to reinstall, but have these little minor hiccups along the way, Manjaro's a solid choice.
Yeah. Manjaro is good if you kind of know what you're doing, but for a newbie, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't put my grandmother on Manjaro.
No.
But then again, I wouldn't put my grandmother on Fedora now that I think of it.
Not that one either.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Grandma's sticking to Ubuntu or Mint, right? That's what we're putting her on. So.
Yeah. Fedora isn't even that bad.
Fedora I wouldn't put my mother on Fedora.
Yeah, the problem with Fedora is, okay, it only ships with free software by default. Your grandmother is going to eventually want some proprietary software. How's she going to get it? Well, she's going to have to go to the command line.
Yeah,
she's going to have to go to the command line and add a repo. No, grandma's not doing that.
No, grandma's not going to do that.
Right.
Your dad wouldn't even want to do that.
Right.
Right.
I wouldn't wish.
Nope.
That would be a bad idea.
That's like I tell people all the time, one of my favorite distros, people ask me favorite distros. I love Debian. I don't recommend Debian for like the brand new user, because they're going to get frustrated with the fact that Debian also only ships with free software. Now, you can get all that non-free software in both Debian and Fedora pretty easily if you know what you're doing. You don't mind, doing some stuff at the command line, but a new user is going to be put off by that sort of thing.
Yes, they would be. You're right.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, a newbie, they don't want that.
Right.
No.
DT, one question.
Oh,
can Manjaro have multiple Ds?
Yes.
Can Manjaro easily have multiple Ds?
It can, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
as a matter of fact,
all you'd have to do is I could go with the, let's go with the, let's say you download the XSE version. You can easily install KDE, i3, whatever you want. All you do is, for example, Pacman-S, Plasma, and whatever other KDE things you need. Or you can do i3 and whatever you want to do, and it pulls in all those dependencies that you need for it. So it doesn't matter.
So I run Manjaro's i3 edition. That's what I installed initially a few months back. I have Qtile on here, Xmonad on here, OpenBox on here. All you do, you just install whatever DE or window manager. You log back out to the LightDM window display manager is what they use.
That's what they include, yeah.
And now all those are options to log back in. So.
And all it is one click on the right hand top of the screen, and then boom.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's fairly easy.
It might be a little different, using things like GNOME and KDE because they come with their own login managers. But anything that's using LightDM is pretty straightforward. Yeah.
I actually made a decision what I'm going to do. I'm going to use their architect ISO and build my own version of Manjaro.
Yeah.
That is also a nice option. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'll work. It's not that bad.
That's probably the best option, Big Pod, because then you're getting close to vanilla Arch base then.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other option is I go with completely with Arch, but then I have always had problems with NVIDIA graphics on it.
No.
On Arch.
Antergos does a nice
Manjaro never had
base install too. No. The last time I tried to install Antergos, I tried like 3 different desktop environments at the installer, and they all failed. But it would let me choose the base Antergos installer, oddly enough. And it's very much like a standard, Arch install. It's all command line. And the problem is, if you're going to do that, why not just install Arch? Because it's like it's so similar, you might as well have just installed Arch. Unless you just want the Antergos branding, I guess. Then, like if I want that logo, on the splash screen when I start up. Yeah, Voyager is tempting, says Mark Yates. Voyager, that's the one that just switched desktop environments. Weren't they using XFCE? Now they're using GNOME. I took a look at Voyager a few months back on the channel. I wasn't that impressed. It seems like a strange distro to me. It uses, what are they using? CairoDoc?
Mm-hmm.
Which now are they going to still use CairoDoc with the GNOME shell? I don't know. It's just strange choices. It's like a kid, put this distro together, and I'm not, being facetious or trying to be negative here, because it may be a young guy that, or a girl that put this thing together, but it's a strange distro.
Yes,
there's some strange choices being made there.
So,
anyway. Chris.
One of the things I mentioned, I think it was yesterday when you were doing that Fedora stream.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing around with the greeters and stuff like that. Right now, I'm running Fedora Cinnamon, and that because I got a lot of Windows users that are complaining, oh, we need to put Windows on here, and we're gonna force it on you and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, well, the museum really doesn't have the money to pay for the licensing and the hardware and everything else, you know. But I figured out how to get this thing. Hang on, I'll mute. I'll be right back.
All right. You gotta admire Chris. He joins us at work.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was one of our museum members seeing if anybody was over here before he came in. Anyway, what I figured out how to do is get this thing to auto log on, and also be able to keep the individual user accounts. So after 30 seconds, it logs on with a general account, which is pretty restricted, but it allows them to get on the internet and stuff like that. And then I have the ability to be able to sign on under my own account, or anybody else can sign in with their own account, as long as they hit that get that signed in before 30 seconds. And after much cruising the net, I figured out how to do it. I was just kind of proud to figure out how to go into the manager. Let's see, lightdm.config. You set auto log on with the username, and that's pretty, and the timeout to whatever you want, and that's pretty much it. So
yeah. Well, that's good. You got it straightened out. Ben already left. Bye, Ben. Thanks for joining us.
Yes,
he snuck out. Yeah, he said it was time for lunch. And Big Pod, he was asking about having multiple desktop environments. With something like LightDM. It's pretty straightforward. I've never had any issues with LightDM and Arch or Arch-based distros. Usually, you just install LightDM and install whatever greeter, which is the theme for LightDM. And usually it just works. You usually shouldn't have to configure anything. At least most of the time I don't. If you do, it's usually something simple.
Well, I mean, in my case, I'm trying to screw around with it. So
Right.
Yeah.
And the config file is straightforward for LightDM if you do need to open it up and play around with it. The Arch Wiki has a great page, actually, about LightDM. And that would work for any distro. If you were wondering about LightDM, read the Arch Wiki page on LightDM. I've read it a couple of different times when I've needed to know a thing or two about LightDM.
Yeah.
All right. So.
I'm more like than LightDM. I'm more like GDM, truth be told.
Well, that's what you're gonna get if you do GNOME. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, GNOME and Plasma, when you install their desktops, they're going to come with their own display login manager. So you're going to get whatever they come with. But most of the others, you get to choose what login manager you want to use. LightDM is a nice option because of dependencies. Doesn't have a bunch of dependencies. That's kind of the name, LightDM. And it's attractive. A good one I used to use years ago was called Slim. There was a login manager called Slim. It's not under active development anymore. I don't think anybody maintained it in like the last 7 or 8 years. It's kind of been a dead project. It's still in the repos. You can use it. I wouldn't recommend using it since it's a dead project. There's too many other options out there to use Slim these days. We got a little bit of noise here.
Sorry, that's probably me. I was grabbing my burger out of the bag.
All right. Yeah, it's getting close to lunchtime. I actually do have to leave here in a little bit and work myself. I actually have to leave at noon, which works out just right. I was able, to do this 10 to noon like I usually do, and then as soon as I click the stop streaming button, I've got to go jump in the car and head to work. And work till about 11 this evening. So.
Jeez.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's all right. I got, you know, some days this week off. Of course, I had Thanksgiving off. Of course, it was a holiday. I got paid for not working on Thanksgiving. It's always nice to get paid and not have to go in. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm off the contractor mill.
No.
For the subcontractor mill. I
right.
actually get paid for holidays and sick time and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then I need to start getting back in the gym on a more regular basis now that Thanksgiving is over. I ate enough food Thursday and Friday to. Pretty sure I gained 10 pounds this week. So
yeah.
Yeah, can Gentoo be installed in VirtualBox and VMware? Yes,
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't really say that you should install it ever.
Yeah, but
if you're not like Ben.
Yeah, if you want to try to install something like Gentoo, it's actually better to try it in VirtualBox because you can have the VM open, and then on your host machine, you can have like the Gentoo wiki and the installation guide open. And it makes it a lot easier to go through that install in a VM before you actually try it on physical hardware. Try it in a VM a couple of times, and once you get the hang of it, then go put it on physical hardware.
Yep.
Same thing with Arch. I tell people that with the Arch install. Yeah, try it in a VM half a dozen times because once you've done it a couple times, it becomes pretty quick. You can install Arch, in 20 minutes. And once you get the hang of it in a VM, then put it on physical hardware. You don't want to try it on physical hardware first and then realize you don't know what you're doing. Then you got to go read the wiki. Well, how do you read the wiki? Well, now you're trying to read it on your phone, or hopefully you have a laptop or something you can actually read something on. Unless you want to try to open up a terminal web browser, which most new users are not going to even think about something like links at the command line.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times you got to install links too. So.
Right. Well, a lot of these command line distros that have a command line install, they are smart enough to have something like links installed already for you because they know you might need a browser. I'm pretty sure Gentoo does on their ISOs.
Yeah, Gentoo, I believe it has links installed, or link. I don't know which one.
Yep. Well, under DNF, links is easy to install. It's DNF install links. Boom, you're done.
Well, the reason it might be a good idea to have it on the ISO, sometimes internet may be giving you a problem too. But of course, with no internet, you're not doing anything with links anyway. So. Yeah, on VMware, it is a real challenge, Serge says. So Gentoo on VMware, not that great. Okay. You need to enable the right parameters to compile the kernel correctly. Okay. And compiling the kernel was really the part of the install that takes the most time. It's not difficult, but compiling the kernel, when I did it, took about an hour and 15 minutes just for the kernel to compile. Now, I don't actually have to sit at the machine. I start it, then I go to lunch or whatever, come back. Not that the Gentoo install is difficult. I mean, there is some stuff to it, but it's just a lengthy process. Yeah, Links 2 has a simple graphical option. Yeah, all those terminal web browsers, they kind of function the same. I use Lynx with a Y, Lynx. A lot of people like W3M. W3M's a nice little terminal web browser too. Really, all of them are not. I don't live in any of these command line browsers. They're just there when you have to have a command line browser, right? If I'm in a graphical environment, I'm pulling up Chrome or Firefox. But, with these like Arch installs or Gentoo installs, you don't have X even on the system yet, right? So you have to use something like Lynx. Let's see. Yeah, Serge, we could do a video about it together. VMware and a Gentoo install? Probably not. I don't have that kind of time these days, Serge. I just don't have hours to do stuff like this anymore. I wanted to do something with Gentoo. I'd install it off camera, late in the evening, and then maybe do a short video about Gentoo after it's installed. But I'm not going through, a 4 or 5 hour Gentoo install and then have to worry about the video, editing the video and all that later. That's an all-day event. I can't do that right now.
What are you using for capture? Simple screen capture, or?
I use OBS to capture my desktop, but I have used Simple Screen Recorder a lot. If I'm making a video where the only thing I'm worried about is recording the desktop, Simple Screen Recorder is great. But a lot of times, like in OBS, I'm switching scenes to my intro and then the screen where I show all the Patreon supporter. Yeah, so I use OBS for everything now because OBS can now also just have a simple little scene where it captures the desktop. Here, I'll show you. This is me capturing the desktop in OBS right now. This is recording my second monitor. That's all it's doing. Nothing else is on the screen. This is just a simple scene in OBS. All it is capturing the second monitor. So it works a lot like Simple Screen Recorder. But if all you want to do is just record a...
Oh, that went out to YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, you guys didn't get to see that.
Looking at you.
Yeah, you guys didn't get to see that. But trust me, it's just a picture of my desktop. So,
yeah.
Yeah, but Simple Screen Recorder is great. The first, 50 videos or so I made on my channel, all I used was Simple Screen Recorder. That was the only thing I used. The only thing with Simple Screen Recorder is streaming. I guess it does have some streaming functionalities. I've never tried it in that regard, but OBS is going to be what you need once you start doing things like live streaming on YouTube and Twitch or whatever.
You can do it with VLC too. You can do a screen recording.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I believe you can even stream from it.
Yeah. Well, I've never tried that with VLC, but maybe you can.
Oh, VLC.
Yeah.
I got VLC to record the video, but I could never get it to record the audio. I didn't know how to get the audio pumped into it. So.
I believe you have to add the audio stream to it somehow. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I know it worked, but I don't know how. I more like using OBS.
Yeah, OBS is much more powerful tool, but it can be a little more complicated. If the only thing you need to do is just record your desktop, Simple Screen Recorder might be what you want to do. I might have
with the. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I might have made a video about Simple Screen Recorder. If I have, it would have been early in the channel's history. I don't want to say I've shown kind of how to use Simple Screen Recorder, how to, just a few settings and away you go. It's pretty easy to use.
Well, when I actually get those blogs going with the LPIC studies, that's one of the things I wanted to include on there. So
okay,
was some screenshots and stuff.
Well, if you need help with Simple Screen Recorder, or if you want to do something like OBS, just hit me up and I'll help you get anything set up you need.
Last time I tried to use OBS on this computer, it kept crashing. And I have a feeling it's because of the video. And the discrete video on this is not. I need to get a video card essentially for it. So,
right.
Using the motherboard. Big Pod, you had something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can help you with OBS as well if you need any help.
Okay. Actually, I'm only running 2 gigs on this computer too, so I have one that's running 8 gigs. I want to get that set up. When I get that online, I'll probably reach out to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I might make a video about it.
Yeah, that'd make a great video. I've done some stuff with OBS. I know on the channel. I'm not sure if I've got anything on Simple Screen Recorder. All right, yeah. In the chat, there's also some discussion about Simple Screen Recorder. Does Simple Screen Recorder support hardware acceleration? That is a good question. I don't believe it does. Does anybody else have any different information there? OBS is heavy. Yeah. But you get a lot with OBS. OBS does a lot of things. Let's see. Steven Anderson, DT, you are monetized. That is unusual for one of my live streams, if I am. The last 7 or 8 of these Sunday chats, for some reason, they demonetized me. I'm not exactly sure why. It's no big deal. It's not like I'm out anything, a buck or two. But it does make you wonder what exactly does cause the problem. What trips the algorithms to... I actually did dispute last week's, demonetization. I asked them to review it, and I got an email back from them saying, yeah, everything's fine. Okay, then why did you demonetize it in the first place? No further explanation, just an email. Yeah, your video is appropriate for our advertisers. That was it. Just one sentence. Okay, well, you can't really respond to it. It's not a human sending you this, so. Because I'd like to ask them, okay, well, what was the problem?
Right.
Yeah, Mark says, it's my fault. Just always blame me. Yeah, I don't think the chat has anything to do with it. Because you can't control the chat. I have no way to control anything that happens in the chat. So they can't punish me for that. They can only punish me for what happens here on screen. Now, if these guys here did something crazy, yeah, that's on me. So. Thanks, Chris, for the super chat. Here's some help. Yeah, the stream cost. Yeah, appreciate that. This is why YouTube is failing. Are they really failing? I haven't. I know YouTube is still not profitable for Google, but I haven't heard that it's like in decline. There's no real competitor to YouTube out there, so I don't know how they could fail.
And the competitors have failed. I mean,
right.
Stuff like what was Channel Awesome going out on? Can't remember that name now, but there was all the other ones that seem to have gone by the wayside.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the super chat, Robert. Appreciate that. Yeah, some YouTube uploaders got demonetized for a video on the command line terminal. My guess is dumb AI work. I'm assuming what Peter is suggesting is the word terminal maybe triggering. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, that would be strange if just the word terminal was.
Yeah.
Demonetized.
Yeah.
And now you've triggered it 3 times.
Yeah, Babbler is saying, are you thinking about Daily Motion? Is that the one you were thinking about? The only
probably doesn't understand context.
Yeah, and the only YouTube competitors, for live streaming, especially gaming streaming, Twitch is out there and it's doing well. Twitch is all right for what it does. For pre-recorded videos, Vimeo is good, but Vimeo is a paid service. And I'm sure they make money, and I'm sure it's a fine product. But there's really nothing like YouTube out there. There's nothing.
Well, there's Twit out there too, but that's production.
Right.
It's a production house. That's not necessarily a streaming channel like YouTube is.
And I say there's nothing like YouTube out there. I'm sure somebody here in a minute is going to mention things like BitChute and those kinds of off the beaten path kind of sites.
Yeah, they just don't have to follow them.
Nobody uses them.
Yeah.
I could upload all my videos to BitChute and 3 people would watch them. So if I was going to do something like that, it would be better for me to just set up my own website and just host my own stuff on my own site. More people would likely find me that way than me putting it on some random, YouTube clone. Yeah.
Well, Rooster Teeth has done a wonderful job, but they had a name going into it, and they have a huge production going on. So I mean, it's not really the same as some guy sitting in as desktop pumping out videos. So
right. And we've had a couple of folks in the chat mention things like PeerTube. Yeah, but PeerTube's a different kind of product. PeerTube, would allow me to host my own videos. I could set up my own instance of PeerTube. There would be some cost involved in that, me hosting as much video as I put out. That's the problem. There would be some major costs, actually.
Pay for the bandwidth.
Right. There would... just storage. I mean,
you're gonna go something. You can still make just a Nextcloud instance and upload there, and people can even download it and stuff like that.
And there's hundreds, maybe thousands of PeerTube instances out there. Well, some of them allow you to upload your content there, but most of them, because again, storage is not free and bandwidth is not free. They're not gonna just let me put up, a terabyte of video on, however much video I've got these days, on their instance of PeerTube. They're just not. And then, again, is it worth me the money I would have to spend every month setting up my own PeerTube instance? Probably not. I'd get nothing out of it.
If you have a bunch of servers at home, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if I had access to some servers, that I wasn't paying for. Yeah.
Maybe just electricity.
You still have to pay for the bandwidth, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is,
can get expensive.
Yeah, the good thing with bandwidth is PeerTube is peer-to-peer. So bandwidth is not as much of an issue with PeerTube.
Bandwidth is kind of like really weird thing. Somewhere it's like really expensive, but somewhere it's like so cheap it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it depends a lot on the ISP and what they put on for caps and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and the countries as well. I see that even here in Europe, a country next to my country has like 3 to 4 times bigger prices for the same internet. It's not like just one ISP, it's like all of them. So
and still, and Serge and Peter in the chat are still talking about PeerTube. Yeah, I don't really want to maintain my own server 24/7. Actually, I don't mind setting up a web server. I've got no problem doing that and maintaining it. It's mainly the cost involved.
Yeah.
So there would be some cost involved in that. Serge says with something like PeerTube, it's my instance. There's no censorship. That's true. I would have complete control over, my instance of PeerTube, where on YouTube I have control of nothing. YouTube can shut me down anytime they want to.
Yeah, but the problem is, how will you get money from it?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Well, not only that is the copyright stuff. I mean, as much as people get copyright strikes on their accounts and stuff like that, a lot of that is being managed by YouTube. And whereas if you're doing it on your own, suddenly you've got lawyers come knocking on your door.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also depends. Yeah. Like, where is the server that's hosting your PeerTube instance? Where is that located? If it's located in the U.S., then you're subject to some laws that
legal scrutiny.
Right. So you still need to make sure your content is not shady in any way. Which my content is fine, but if I was setting up a PeerTube instance and letting just anybody upload their videos to it, it could create some problems.
Yeah, that's why the title 8, European Title 8 is the problem. because even YouTube, with its size, wouldn't be able to really check every video that is uploaded and copyright strike it if necessary, or even delete it, because they want European Union wants that they do it in, I believe, 24 hours. They need to find, after the upload, they need to find it and delete it from the platform if it's copyrighted material, which is ludicrous.
And one thing I wanted to clarify about, you have to be on YouTube because of being able to monetize your videos and make a little money. You can't really do that anywhere else. Most people are still going to upload videos to YouTube. That's where you have to be. Yeah. Most people are looking for a second place to host their videos in case YouTube decides one day, they want to censor certain people. They don't like what you're saying. They delete all your videos and ban your account. Well, what happened to all your content? You better have it backed up somewhere else. It would be better if you had it mirrored somewhere on the internet already. So having it on something like BitChute or DTube or wherever, so you still have those videos out there on the internet, is in case something happens on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, the Randy Blankenship brought up a good point also, is that Google knows too much about you, and that's basically because we've allowed them to do that.
Well, and there's almost no way to,
We use YouTube mainly for discoverability because it's easiest to get discovered by people watching YouTube videos than by people searching on the internet for the specific guy.
Yeah.
But as I said, for the second platform, that's why Linus Tech Tips, they are making their own platform, so they can have a platform so they can go if YouTube ever goes away.
Yeah, and Peter, is suggesting, back up your content, DT. I have backed up most of my videos. The only ones that wouldn't be backed up, like I would lose anything I've made in like the past 2 weeks. But most of the rest of my videos, I already have a copy of them that I've downloaded and put somewhere else. So it's not a total loss.
You store them offline, or?
I have offline storage, and I do have online storage too.
But are they all in the same building?
That's a good point. The offline storage is in this building, so if the building burned down, I'd lose that. But if just the computer died, the offline storage is good. So.
Yeah. What I like to when I do backups and stuff like that, like for companies, I like to say that they need to do at least 3-to-1 system. Three copies of the content, two on the on original. 2 of them are basically copies, backups, and one of them must be in completely different building, probably in other city.
Yeah, that's typically what I'd recommend. Not for like enterprise server kind of stuff, but like your typical home user, have 2 backups. Have one offline and maybe one in the cloud. That way, if something happens to one or the other, you still got the other. So,
yeah.
Actually, many companies do that. Like I said, one copy is in the same building for quick access. If the server goes down, and another copy is like probably in another corporate building, like in another country. So you need to have a really, really bad luck to lose all data.
Yeah, well, that's also mission critical stuff. So I mean, it's like something that would take millions and millions of dollars if you couldn't get that covered. But like Derek was saying, the home user, I don't think they can afford that.
Yeah. And just briefly in the chat, Big Daddy, Rocco, he says he doesn't stay on YouTube for the money. He doesn't monetize his live streams. He stays on YouTube because that's where the community is. Agreed. I will also say I don't do YouTube for the money. I do YouTube for the chicks. So yeah. All you got to do when you're at the club, just mention that you're a YouTuber and you do Linux videos. And they run away.
Yeah. You don't want female company. That's a perfect thing.
Yep. Surge is still, put your videos on PeerTube and the community will follow. Will they really? I mean, how? Like the people that find my videos. I don't know how you guys that are here found my videos, but you probably found my videos because you were on YouTube and they were recommended to you because YouTube knows what you like as far as the videos you watch. Nobody's going to see a recommended video from PeerTube on YouTube or on Google search or, that's how people find you. It's all about SEO and internet marketing. I would have to do so much work to get people over to my PeerTube.
Is crazy.
I would have to spend so much money. It would be, it would not, I'd go broke. I mean, to be honest, I'd go broke just trying to get people to watch my videos. YouTube, I would still have to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I found you when I was looking for, let's see, I was running Fedora 23 and I wanted to see if Fedora 24 was something that I wanted to move up to or wait till 25 came out or what have you. And so I was looking for Fedora reviews. You came up on one of the search results. So.
No.
I believe I found you. I was looking for one of the review. I don't know for which distro exactly, but then I sticked around and watched a couple of your videos and like stuff like that. And then after that, I just became a fan.
There are three ways that I typically come across like the videos or the channels I'm subscribed to. The number one way is the recommended videos that YouTube is suggesting as soon as you go to the homepage. It's telling you, hey, you might like this video. Most of them are actually pretty good suggestions. The other way is YouTube search. I search for something. If, the most relevant videos hopefully come up in the top results. So I find a lot of channels that way. The other thing is Google search. So a lot of YouTube videos are going to rank pretty highly in Google search too because it's owned by Google. So
yeah, they do their own SEO.
Right. So yeah, vid.me proved you can't move a community and survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Michael, in the chat. Yeah, the eyeballs are on YouTube, absolutely. They'll eventually be a competitor to YouTube. I mean, the internet, it's not static. I mean, we've seen these big sites, they come and go.
Yeah, but the problem with YouTube is it's already a big repository of videos, and that's one reason probably no one will want to change because it's a repository. Yeah. Unlike, let's say, a social media where most of them are posts, and you might wanna leave because of the community. Here you won't see that many times.
Yeah. And Mark Yates, Etcher has gone to crap. If I'm going to censor it a little bit. Etcher is a program to make live USBs. I use it all the time. It's what I use. It's what I burn the USB to install Fedora. I use Etcher all the time. So I don't have any problems with it. I'm not sure what the issue you're having with it.
Hey, DT.
Yep.
Actually, I think I know what he's talking about. For whatever reason, I guess this new company, Belina, or whatever, has taken over their website for Etcher.io. And
hey, Robert, hold up.
Yeah.
Turn down your audio a little bit. You're distorted a little bit. It's a little too loud.
Okay, sure. So I was just saying the website for Etcher, Belina, I guess, took over that project, and now it's essentially become a lot more bloated to install. Etcher in the last like 2 weeks. I don't know if you've used it recently, but I know where he's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I've used Etcher 3 or 4 days ago, and I'm on Manjaro. It's a rolling release. Maybe it's like the latest version. Maybe I'm not on, but I'm on a pretty recent version, I'm sure. So,
how did you install it?
How did I install it?
Yeah,
I installed Etcher
using the app image.
No, I did not use the app image.
I think maybe the app image is.
So I'm pretty sure there's an AUR package. I'm pretty sure that's what I installed.
Right.
Yeah. I do know you can install Etcher with an app image. I don't, just because I don't have any app images on my system at all right now. So I know I didn't use the app image.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that may be a problem as, what package you used.
Right.
I am actually still using, what's it called? On Windows, Rufus. That's the thing I use most of the time. It works.
Yeah. In the chat, Chas was asking me, no more Fedora Jam, DT? Yeah, I'm still planning on living in Fedora Jam for a little while. I just didn't have it set up to do this live stream in Zoom because I didn't have these OBS overlays on the Fedora install. So I logged into Manjaro just to do this. Just for the sake of time. I didn't have time to get all this transferred to the Fedora drive. So, but the next time I do one of these, I'm sure I will be on Fedora. There's a few things that I didn't have my intro over on that drive. I noticed the other day when I did that video from a Fedora Jam, I hit the little button here in OBS to play my intro and nothing played. It's because I didn't bring that MP4 file over. So, like, I clicked the buttons, nothing happening. It's like, dang, I forgot something.
And I just decided one really, really, really dangerous thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to delete everything on my laptop and start over.
Yeah, that's what I do every few months, actually. Whether I need it or not, sometimes you just want to start with a clean system again.
Yeah, my system is 1 month old.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to start over.
1 month old, yeah. Let's see. Ghost Mirror has a question that I might be able to answer. Let's see. I have been looking for some help in a sense with Linux. How do you listen to my line in port on my back panel with a jack connector like you can in Windows? Not exactly. So you're plugging into the port in the back of the tower that's connected to your motherboard, and you're not getting sound. Is that the question? Not sure what he's after there.
You check before, so can't help here.
Let's see.
But if I took a stab, I would say somewhere in like one of the settings programs, you could connect the line into the whatever you need to do.
Okay, he says, yeah, jack to jack. I want to have two audio sources coming into one headphone, that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm not sure on that.
Maybe with that software you showed, maybe Claudia
that would be where you would. That would be a good program to do that, and then you just connect the wires to where you want to direct the output. So yeah, Ghost Mirror, what you might want to do, so if you have Jack installed and the Jack server running, make sure you have a program called Cadence installed, and in Cadence there is a program called Claudia that shows you like all the Jack connections to your input and output, the source and the sync. That is going to be where you want to play around with until you get whatever it is you're after in your headphones. Just start connecting wires, to different places in that program. A good person to ask that question, actually, and Rocco will back me up on this, is Scrapjaw. Let me pull up his YouTube channel, too.
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel.
he does some really nice videos regarding jack. Matter of fact, I may end up having to pick his brain a little bit if I run into any issues. Yes, I'm gonna link to his channel if I can pull it up here. Yep, scrapjaw.studio is his username, and there is his channel link. Yep. Okay. Yeah, Scrapjaw, beat a man for audio with jack. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's, you know, a musician, and for what he does, you know, he knows how to use all this stuff, jack and cadence, and I think he's using Kubuntu with the KX Studio repos, which is what most people that want to that tell you about jack recommend you using is, you know, some Ubuntu based distro, and using that KX Studio repo, which gives you all the jack tools that you need. Matter of fact, I'll link to that too, the KX Studio website, for those interested in that are playing around with jack. Of course, I say that's what most people do, and I'm on Fedora. Not on an Ubuntu based distro. But I'm gonna make it work. So, all right, guys, it's about a quarter till noon. I'm gonna have to cut this out early because, again, I need to actually leave by noon so I can make it to work on time. So let's get a last word from everybody. Silent Robot, give us a last word, sir.
Thank you for having me on. Always a pleasure.
Right.
Great chat, great content. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robot. All right. Somebody's got the stream open. All right, Matthias, give us the last word.
Thank you very much, and keep up the good work. It's a pleasure to be a patron to this great community.
Appreciate that, Matthias. Really appreciate that. And yeah, great shirt. Just wanted to point for Michael, who's, I think he's still around in the chat. You can get that at, I'm sure, tuxdigital.com. Okay. Dan, give us a last word.
Thanks for having us. It's been great. Good chat. Good time.
All right. Appreciate it, Dan. Rob B, give us a last word, sir.
It's been fun, DT. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning. All right, Robert Trimble, last word.
Yeah, thanks for everybody for the patience today, having all the hardware issues in Fedora 29. Hopefully next time won't go so badly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, next week I will probably be on Fedora 29 with you. That's the plan. Matter of fact, that would have been the plan this morning had I had OBS set up correctly. I would have been doing this from Fedora 29, so we'll see how it goes for both of us next week. All right, Big Pod, last word, sir.
Thanks for having this stream. As always, fun to join. And hopefully now I won't have so many problems with my system.
Yeah, I hope not. I'm rooting for you. All right, Chris, give us the last word, sir. Chris? All right.
Okay,
Chris, you're...
sorry.
Okay.
I'm real lag that we're ending now. It's great talking to you guys. And I promise these videos, and when I get off my butt and actually get them done, I'll be much happier. But I didn't make you and the others who offered OBS running on one of my machines here.
All right. I had some audio issues there, Chris. So you were kind of cutting in and out, but I think I got your point from the last word. Yeah, we'll definitely help you out on anything you need with OBS or Simple Screen Recorder on those videos. And come back and see us next weekend. And before I go, I do need to thank a few people, but guys, bear with me just a second, because somebody wanted me to add something to this, so give me just a second. All right. We added Big Pod to the list. All right, this show was made possible by Ansem, Carlos, Chris, David, Leor, Rob, Tony. Also brought to you by all those fine ladies and gentlemen, including Big Pod. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting the channel, DistroTube, over on Patreon. All right, guys. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.